A massive crowd gathers after the tragic lynching of a 16-year-old in Texas, 1916. How do you feel about this? A young boy playfully messes around for the camera on the streets of Spain, 1934. Russian Grand Duchesses Maria and Anastasia making faces in captivity in 1917, shortly before their execution. Arthur Mole's human U.S. shield. 30,000 men from Camp Custer forming a massive living photograph. 1918. A U.S. Marine takes a brief moment to pose on the Pacific Islands in the 1940s. A Dolly Parton look-alike competition in Phoenix, 1979. Do any of these contestants resemble the legend? A fan admires the massive physique of bodybuilder Brian Buchanan in the early 1990s. Browsing the 1916 Sears Roebuck catalog, where you could buy an entire house by mail. A soldier undergoing pioneering plastic surgery after severe facial wounds in World War I. Physicist Stephen Hawking enjoying a family barbecue with his wife Jane Wilde and children Robert and Lucy, 1977. A 1930s. Kellogg's advertisement actively encouraging women to work harder around the house. Nine-year-old Eunice Winstead and her 22-year-old husband Charlie Johns sit in their Tennessee home, 1937. A German circus performer dangles 656 feet in the air, suspended entirely by her hair, in 1960. Silent film actor Jack Earl shares sweeping duties with the Doll family at the Barnum and Bailey Circus, 1938. A hilarious 1924 personal ad. We hope this ambitious 106-year-old woman finally found her man. New York City policemen wearing heavy portable traffic lights strapped directly to their chests in 1921. A Ku Klux Klan crew participating in an American automobile race in 1920. Jacques Biederer, history's first specialized erotic photographer, working in his Paris studio in 1928. A 1930 Ohio newspaper headline: An Akron waitress furiously throws hot coffee onto an unwanted wooer. A fierce bare-knuckle boxing match between American sailors on the deck of a warship in 1899. The peak of high society elegance at the legendary Venice Ball in 1951. Young riders refuel during a children's motorcycle sidecar race in the Berlin Lustgarten, 1931. Janelle Commission crowned as the very first black winner of the Miss Universe contest in 1977. A famous optical illusion. Do you immediately see a young lady or an old woman? John Lennon, Yoko Ono, and Andy Warhol hanging out in 1971. What is John looking at? A strict 1923 teacher's contract forbidding women from keeping company with men. What surprised you most? Passers-by use homemade periscopes to watch King George VI's coronation procession in London, 1937. A breathtaking portrait of Chaiwa, a Tua Native American captured around 1906. A survivor reveals the Feldhuer sex slavery tattoo forced upon her at Auschwitz in 1945. A tragic before and after shot of a boy who underwent a lobotomy by Walter Freeman in the 1940s. Soviet soldiers carefully learning how to milk a cow in the 1940s. David Hensley, crippled by polio, wearing leg braces to solicit funds for a new hospital in 1948. An intense game of unicycle basketball played on the courts of Harlem in the 1960s. Long before Facebook hearings, a young Mark Zuckerberg dances in a nightclub around 2010. A French collaborator, her head shaved, walks home to Chartres with her German-fathered baby in 1944. Dina Sanichar, the feral boy raised by wolves who inspired Mowgli in The Jungle Book, 1890. A terrifying 1950s flying cars amusement ride where you controlled your own brakes. Elmira Humphreys proudly wearing her crown as Miss Radio Queen at the 1939 Radio Olympia exhibition. Stunning ceramic El Peru Maya figurines from 600 AD featuring completely removable helmets. An unconventional public punishment for drunkenness in 1990s, Chechnya. How effective do you think this was? A rare glimpse of comedy legend Jim Carrey showing off his signature smile during Christmas 1967. A 1971 vibrating bra designed for breast firming. Thousands of women were convinced it worked. American soldiers casually posing with human skulls at the Colon Cemetery in Havana, Cuba, 1900. Miss Italy fiercely knocks Miss Sweden into the ropes during a 1949 Stockholm boxing match. The epitome of French beauty and effortless style, the legendary Brigitte Bardot in 1958. A worker manually cleans the rifling of a massive 381mm naval gun at the Coventry Arsenal, 1910. A patient at Maryland's Walter Reed Hospital in 1918 holding a plaster cast of his face. Filming the massively popular TV series Baywatch on the sunny beaches of the 1990s. A special sniffer, checking the purity of wooden barrels before filling them with Guinness beer, 1944. The tiny Peel P50 from 1963, a three-wheeled microcar manufactured by Peel Engineering Company. Bodybuilding legend Arnold Schwarzenegger visiting the Moscow Athletic Club in 1988. Horses and early automobiles sharing a dusty crossroads in Pratt, Kansas, 1911. East German leader Erich Honecker at the Leipzig Gymnastics and Sports Festival in the 1970s. John F. Kennedy attempting to calm down an angry Lyndon B. Johnson in 1960. Why was he mad? Puppeteer Frank Oz controlling Yoda on the set of Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. 1982. U.S. Secretary of the Navy. Josephus Daniels inspects a cannon at Edinburgh Castle, 1919. Paparazzi king Rino Barilari attacked with ice cream by actress Sonia Romanoff in 1966 Rome. Bodybuilder Gene Jansen and his wife Pat training with their 11-month-old son Kent in 1947. The classic vintage glamour of gorgeous British actress Eve Eden in 1960. Sergeant Sidney Beldam's face transformed by pioneering surgeon Sir Harold Gillies in 1919. Indigenous Tuir Kaipo holds a machete to an Electra Norte director's face over the Xingu River Dam, 1989. An 18-year-old girl during the liberation of the Dachau concentration camp in 1945. Walter Yeo in 1917, showing his face before and after a pioneering tube pedicle flap reconstruction. Extreme Australian scarification from 1927 that would have taken dozens of agonizing procedures to complete. Laugh-in Leslie, an 18-year-old dwarf, guides Jimmy the zebra across a road in Berkshire, 1935. Contestants in a 1932 Margate Neatest Figure contest wearing bags over their heads for unbiased judging. The harsh reality of mid-century hunting. A proud hunter carrying a massive trophy in 1957. Police aggressively inspecting and cutting men's long hair on the streets of Seoul, Korea, 1971. The latest attire and coiffures at the 1926 International Exposition of Hairdressing in Toronto. Towering ceremonial headpieces worn during a traditional Igbo masquerade ritual in 1920s Nigeria. Iconic pinup star Betty Grable in 1943, who was famous worldwide for her million-dollar legs. A terrifying 1929 medical treatment where children were treated with an unshielded UV sun lamp. Hand-drawn pages from Dr. Kanda Gensen's 17th-century Japanese treatise on the horrors of smallpox. American soldiers are shown brutal execution methods at the Buchenwald concentration camp, 1945. A 16-year-old Liv Tyler posing beautifully with her 40-year-old mother, Beba Buell, in 1993. A highly unusual Spanish dagger from the late 16th century. What are your theories on this blade? Marilyn Monroe's 1954 medical x-rays recently sold at auction in Las Vegas for $45,000. The stunning corps de ballet of the legendary Moulin Rouge posing in 1920s France. Actor Roddy McDowall eating lunch in full ape makeup on the Planet of the Apes set, 1968. 22-year-old Charlie Johns reading the Bible to his 9-year-old bride Eunice in 1937. A groundbreaking medical milestone. The very first image of a child in the womb, 1965. A daring athlete recklessly water skiing through the historic waterways of 1950s Venice. An American Marine tries to communicate with two captured Japanese child soldiers in 1945. The chaotic genius of history's greatest composer. Take a close look at Beethoven's original sheet music. Two women standing directly on giant reptiles during a bizarre turtle race in the 1920s. An incredibly crude medical device. This is exactly what an anesthesia machine looked like in 1913. Girls having fun backstage at the Earl Carroll Theater on Broadway in 1948. A massive X-ray machine from 1929 designed to be safer for doctors to operate. A curator measures a stuffed coelacanth thought to be extinct for 65 million years, 1968. A 1937 child holder designed to let couples ice skate while dangling their baby. Would you use this? Doris Smith riding her motorcycle around the Wall of Death completely no-handed in 1938 Essex. The final moments of Ruth Snyder at Sing Sing Prison, captured right before her 1928 execution. Tattooed Lady Betty Broadbent preparing for a fair appearance in Flushing, Queens, 1939. Black Monday in 1987, where worldwide stock market losses were estimated at $1.71 trillion. The USS Langley, the very first United States aircraft carrier photographed in 1923. French engineer Claude designed this highly unusual airplane featuring completely round wings in 1902. A man electrocuting his wife for a fairground circus sideshow in 1957 Boston. A 1930s New York apartment that rented for just $4 a week. Thoughts on those prices? Mugshots of a young Benito Mussolini, dated June 19, 1903. A contestant in midair during a ski jump event in St. Moritz, Switzerland, 1924. University of Cincinnati students beautifully staging Grecian games in 1921. Inventor Thomas Edison enjoys a midday nap under a tree in Washington County, Maryland, 1921. The Caproni Capronissimo, a prototype nine-winged flying boat on Lake Maggiore, Italy, 1921. A 1920s Los Angeles cafe built to look exactly like an animal. A U.S. Army helicopter sprays chemical weapons over the jungles of Vietnam in 1967. The first photographic record of a triple header at a New Jersey horse race in 1954. A basement shoe shop in 1900 London, measuring just 1.2 meters, making it the city's smallest. Famous gangsters Bonnie and Clyde playfully posing with heavy weapons in 1934. Mormon man imprisoned for practicing polygamy in Utah, 1889. A passenger casually riding a 1950s French bus with his giant pet bird. Arnold Schwarzenegger at the Mr. Olympia contest in 1974. A Frenchman offers Winston Churchill a cigarette in 1944. Allied help in 1943, massive shipments of bacon, lard, and pork stew. Girls screaming in skirts on a roller coaster ride. Pamela Anderson on the sunny set of the TV series Baywatch in 1992. Freed prisoners celebrating liberation with good wine at Dachau, April 1945. The Welcome Stranger, a massive 160-pound gold nugget found in Australia in 1869. People avoiding casual small talk by reading newspapers on a train in 1896. A 1950 photograph showing that a single lightning bolt is actually 11 separate flashes. A stunning wedding photo of a Mongolian couple in 1920. A cycle engineer riding the world's smallest functional bicycle through London in 1937. Tuffy, the circus elephant, falls 9 meters from the Wuppertal Suspension Railway into the Wupper River, 1950.